Hi everyone.
God, you're insufferable.
I know. No, I'm in West Cork, mate.
Ooh, fantastic banter.
See what I did there? See what I did there? Yeah. So, what is there to talk about except the shenanigans of the Tory government, eh?
Well, it's too easy. They're making it far too easy for us.
Yeah, I know. Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm no fan of anyone, any politician. They're all corrupt, in my opinion. The very fact they want to be in charge is a fucking big black mark against all of them. But it is good that Sunak's in, because now at least they can get on with doing whatever they can. We'll probably come to that in a minute. But there's an interesting thing about Sunak. His name, Rishi Sunak, is an anagram of high risk anus. I will never, ever be able to think of him as anything again except a Mr. Anus, which is fucking fitting, really, for a politician, isn't it? High risk anus.
When you first told me that, the way you told me, I was almost worried. You're like, "Oh, Connor, I've got something else to tell you." I was like, "What's that?" And you was like, "He's like, are you ready?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And you just went, "Rishi Sunak is an anagram for high risk anus." And I doubled
brilliant.
over.
You
Because I
could
thought
not
you was
make
going
it
to
up.
tell me something bad. But John, you need to watch yourself because you are a straight white male, and when you say
Middle-aged.
these sort of things, middle aged, you'd be fucking lucky. You're fucking way past that, mate. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
Come on,
because of all of
spit
those,
it out, big boy.
because of all of that, it could be seen as a little bit racist, mate.
Oh, what? Because of his name? Oh,
Because
fuck
yep,
off.
and
Because
his
it's because
heritage
it's
and
not. Because it's not. Hang on. Never mind that. His name, because it's his name we're focusing on here. An arrangement of letters. Rishi Sunak, high risk anus. All right. That's the first thing. Okay, so it's not a traditional what you might call English name. Okay. For anyone who's thinking that right now, I give you Virginia Bottomley. Many of you might be too young to remember her very well. Virginia Bottomley, a particularly unpleasant Tory MP, a woman, obviously the name like Virginia, and her name is an anagram for I'm an evil Tory bigot. So I'm an equal opportunity politician hater. I don't care whether they're white or black or any other colour, and I don't care whether they're male or female, and I don't give a shit what fucking party they belong to either. I'm equally just inclined to make fun of Rishi Sunak as high risk anus as I am of Virginia the Bottomley as I'm an evil Tory bigot. So stick that one in your fucking wokeling hole and smoke it. Anyway, carry on. I'm an evil Tory bigot. That was fucking hilarious.
yes, you
I
are.
think to be fair, I think high risk anus is funnier because when you consider the whole context, the job he's in, and people think he's an asshole anyway.
So much funnier. So much funnier. The mere fact that the word anus is present,
in his name.
it makes it makes it hilarious. It's so
It does.
childish. It's so
I know.
utterly
I know.
childish.
But I'll never be able to think of him ever as anything but Mr. Anus now. You do realise that, don't you? And when I write about him and talk about it, I will call him Mr. Anus. Sorry, Rishi.
I put my name into an anagram creator, and it's pretty boring, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
The funniest one is Hornbeam.
That's not funny.
Exactly. That's how funny these are. I wasn't expecting a laugh there. No, that doesn't even use all the words. Anchormen. That's what I meant. What if I put in my middle name? Come on, give me something funny.
Because mine's the same. I don't do it right now. I've done it before, and it's very, very boring. And really, you've got to have all the letters. It's not as funny if it's just a few of them.
Yeah, and this one's pretty shit to be fair because it's just pumping out like one word, if you know what I mean. Cameroonian. That's not using all of it, is
Cameroonian, I like that one. You're the wrong fucking colour, mate.
There's no
Cameroonian.
W in there.
There's no W in Cameroonian.
Exactly, but I put in Connor William Benham.
Oh right. So going back to what I said before, I mean, I'm glad. I don't care who's in charge because ultimately it won't make any difference. Because what I'm saying, this is actually, I find this quite troubling. And again, this is, I want to stress this. I don't like Sunak. I think he's duplicitous, as all politicians, and he really showed himself for what he is, in my opinion, when in the previous leadership competition race, whatever you like to call it, he started saying things like, "Oh, I sat around the table during COVID in these treasury meetings, almost in tears. We should have listened to the scientists less." Well, Sunak's a clever bloke. He's far too clever to believe that. So either I'm wrong and he's actually that fucking stupid, or he was just deliberately pandering for the popular vote, Vox Populi. The last thing we need to be doing in a pandemic is ignoring science. We don't need to be ignoring science at any time. Yes, we might need to soften the edges sometimes, but to listen to the scientists less or let more people fucking die. People are not realizing this for the most part because most people are not in the health service. The health service at the moment is absolutely fucking swamped with previously undiagnosed cancer cases, which is exactly what we all predicted, or some of us did anyway. And it's going to get worse. So Sunak. The reason I'm glad Sunak is in charge is maybe now there'll be some stability. But what's troubling is I'm seeing a lot of posts on LinkedIn basically saying, at least now we've got a man who will sort things out. He will solve this for us. He's our savior. Some people are writing with that kind of adulation. Most are not. Most are just glad to get it out of the way. So now someone could do something and solve the problem for us. No, actually, I do like to be the harbinger of bad news here. That's not going to happen. That really is not going to happen. Sunak, I hope, will do some decent things and maybe extend lifelines to people who really fucking need it, safety nets and things. But nothing and this is no reflection on him, by the way. This will be no matter who was put in charge. It could be fucking Marcus Aurelius. It make no difference. One of my heroes. Whoever is in charge, it is too late. Okay, the only way out of the recession now is through it. And it's going to be very tough because it's not just the UK, it's the whole fucking world. And if people start thinking, yeah, Sunak is our saviour, Sunak or whoever it would be is going to save us, the tendency there then is they will abdicate responsibility for their own actions and their own situation, which will mean they're in free fall. And not only is that a really stupid thing to do, essentially predicating your livelihood, your happiness on someone else's decisions, but when they do realise, fuck, this is bad, it'll be too late. The time to buy a fire alarm or a smoke alarm is not when your house is burning down. The time to decide how do we escape from our house if it's burning, is not when the house is already on fire. I've got plans. I know exactly how to get out of the house if it's burning. We've got things in place. If I lived in a taller house, not a 185-year-old farmhouse, I would have ropes. Those things you can put by the windows. You might never need them. God forbid you ever do. But the day you need them, you really fucking need them. So
we need to stop the podcast.
Why?
I need to go get some ropes from B&Q. I have none. I'm in the top floor flat.
I would very, very much very strongly suggest you and Tamsin work out an exit plan if there's a fire, other than just run to the nearest fire escape, because you may not get time. So it's good that Sunak, someone is now in charge, and there may be stability. It's very, very bad. People are looking to him as their savior, the knight in white shining armor, the cavalry coming over the hill. It's not going to happen. This is still on you. It is ever more important right now. People take responsibility for themselves, their thoughts, their feelings, their actions. Yeah, there's no guarantees. I mean, there's a guy on LinkedIn yesterday. I disconnected from him because I will not stay connected to people who display intellectual dishonesty. Who was arguing and said he was blue in the face or trying to. He was in control of his results. And when I pointed out, well, actually no, because you could die, meteorite land on your house, government policy can change. Yeah, but those things are really unlikely. Well, that may well be true, but that does not actually refute my argument. What he's doing is moving the goalposts. That's intellectual dishonesty. I won't tolerate that. People's egos are so fucking fragile. They cannot just say, actually, yeah, you're right, and I'm wrong. and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing really for them. So I don't stay connected to people like that because there's no way I'm going to work with them. You can't learn anything you think you already know, and that's predicated then on you admitting I don't know this thing, or what I believed about this thing was wrong, and now I'm going to change my mind or learn something new. If you won't do that, I can't fucking help you. I don't want to either. Got shit times coming, boy.
It's a good skill to learn, humility, because I believe it's a really important component of good leadership as well. Being able
Oh,
to hold your hands
definitely.
up and say, I made a mistake here. We're gonna change course.
Yeah, and I'm responsible for it.
Yeah, I'm responsible, and having the balls to say, I'm responsible for this thing. I might not even know much about it. I'm going to be responsible for it, but I'm going to need help. And then you look at your team and everyone around you. There's a real lack of leadership, and I think if you ask the general population, would they rather be a leader or a follower? I think it would be. I think it'd lean towards most people would say they want to be a leader, but that's because they don't understand what it takes to lead. And when you spell it out to them, put it in black and white, they'd be much more comfortable as a follower, and that's why they live their lives the way they do.
I think you're right. I think what most people want is the benefits. They're often perceived benefits of leadership, but not the concomitant responsibilities. It's a little bit like, the parallel would be people who start their own businesses. They want the freedom and the advantages and the benefits of being a business owner. It's certainly what they perceive. Your own time, you run your own calendar, you're beholden to no one, you make loads of money. They want all that. Sounds great. Doing what you want, master of your own destiny. They want all that. What they don't want is the responsibility of shit. We've got to get clients in. We've got to market ourselves and sell ourselves. We've got to deal with awkward customers and clients. We've got to deal with unfavorable conditions. We've got to deal with a shitty economy. Oh no, let's get Sunak to do it for us. So people want freedom. They don't want responsibility. They want control. They don't want responsibility. So I think you're right. They'd like the idea of leadership, but when they look at what leadership actually takes, I think, okay, not for me, and that's okay. We can't all be leaders after all. But I think
Most people I don't want leading, John. Most people I meet, I think, fuck me. I do not want you near.
we can't all be leaders anyway, because that makes no sense. Unless we're in a society where we all do the same, we all do things ourselves, and that's not going to happen. Now, one of the things I'm very big on is teaching leadership. And interestingly enough, I've never, ever taken a leadership course or particularly studied it, other than through the history books, I suppose, the great leaders of the past, like Marcus Aurelius, people like that, who again were very big on personal responsibility, which is very strange. Now, I think what people should understand is leadership is very lonely. In the sense, well, when I say that, I mean, what I mean is you are on your own. I mean, I don't know what loneliness feels like, so I don't mean I am lonely as I feel in that I feel lonely. But it's a path you walk alone, yeah. And not everybody's cut out for that, because a lot of people, what they want more than anything, even though everybody I know will deny this, with rare exception anyway, people will deny this to their dying breath, is most people actually want approval. They want to be seen to be a certain kind of person by others and approved of and liked and to be popular. This is why influencers chop and change their minds so much. This is why some people will not express an opinion until they've gauged the overall opinion, the majority opinion in the room. Well, that's fine if that's the way you are, but that's not leadership. Leadership is like any parent. I mean, every single person is a parent should learn leadership skills, because what the fuck do you think you're doing with your children otherwise? Because if you bring up your children to think loving is the same as being popular all the time and pandering to your child's desires and not being in fucking charge because you are the parent at times, then you don't really, I don't think you're a very good parent at all. It's like the little girl I talked about a few days ago, a week or two ago now, where her dad thought it was amusing. She was grabbing hold of other children and would not let go. Well, he'll think that's fucking funny until some autistic kid pokes her in the face and smashes her nose because he doesn't want to touch him without permission. You know, that he's not showing any kind of leadership to his little girl.
Or she gets done.
Yeah. I mean, if it's inappropriate at 15, but not inappropriate at 2, what age do we change this? When do we start saying, what you've done up until this point was funny and okay, but right now you've got to change?
Yeah.
Why not just fucking tell us the right way to do it straight away?
And then it's confusing.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to do is confuse a child, blur the lines. One thing I do want to say about leadership as well, and this isn't very popular, I don't think, with today's crowd. Sometimes to be a leader, you have to man up. There are times where you have to have that stiff upper lip and you have to endure the shit. And you cannot afford to sit there and cry. You cannot afford to sit there and be in your feels and get all emotional. And
no, I agree.
Be authentic. Sometimes you do have to pull your fucking socks up. You have to say it's hard, but I'm going to do it. And you cry when you get through the other side. And guess what? You cry in fucking private. You don't go, oh my God, it's so hard. And now you cry.
All with people who are you trust, in an inner circle of people, maybe in a similar position,
Yeah, but you don't go out in public and start crying.
No. I mean, I've seen on LinkedIn and other social media people saying, leave poor Liz Truss alone. What might this all be doing to her mental health? I don't care. If you are the leader of a nation which has the ability to wage nuclear war, you don't get to play the don't say nasty things, you're harming my mental health card. You just don't. That's not to denigrate people who have mental health problems. I've had them myself with anxiety. Yeah. But if you cannot take the pressures of leadership of a nuclear power, you should not be the leader of a nuclear power. And right, how these very same people saying that, would they be saying the same if Liz Truss was a man? No, they wouldn't. Did they say the same when Boris Johnson was disgraced? No, they didn't. So it's double standards and hypocrisy anyway.
They did, to be fair, at the peak of COVID. They did. Less so when he supported Boris and were like, think of how he's feeling and stuff like that. They didn't do any of that when he got disgraced. But what was funny about when they were doing that is it very much felt like a and this is conspiracy theory land, so I'm going to tread carefully here. But it did very much feel like the Parliament requested the media to do it because it was all at once, it was all in unison, and many of them were using pictures that were years old. I think there was one in particular of him sat on a park bench, head in hands, and that was the headline of like some shit rag. But that picture was 4 years old. I think he'd been on the fucking booze up or something.
Well, I'm quite happy to be wrong. I've only known what I've seen. I didn't see anyone being particularly supportive, I suppose, being supportive of Boris, and certainly not when he was disgraced and when he resigned. And they were also very quick to point out he's an overweight, middle-aged white male. Well, if you were to do the same about Liz Truss, for instance, she's probably menopausal, that's the problem, you'd be fucking hung, drawn, and quartered. What's the difference? There is none qualitatively. What it is fucking double standards and hypocrisy from the wokelings. I despise wokelings. Yeah? Intellectual dishonesty, double standards, hypocrisy. Can't be doing with it.
Liz was and all over the gaff. They thought, oh, fuck me, we've got to get rid of her. She's leaving on these sofas. These are expensive.
I don't know anything about the woman other than the fact she was the last person to see the Queen in official capacity and is on record as saying she wanted to get rid of the monarchy. I thought that was fucking diamond.
Interesting.
But what I do know is she was the leader of the UK and she wasn't up to the task, and now people are trying to make excuses for her. Did she not know it was a tough job before she went into it? Didn't she have an inkling that it was hard work and you had to make unpopular decisions? And the other guy, Quanteng, whatever his bloody name was, he blamed stress for making shitty decisions. For fuck's sake, you were the Chancellor. You're not here to be everybody's friend. You're supposed to make unpopular decisions. Does my fucking nut in, man. I expect that kind of bollocks from the Labour government, to be honest. Not the Tories.
They're as bad as each other. They're awful.
Of course they are. I know. Don't get me wrong. I'm not singing anybody's praises here. I despise politicians and politics.
Me too. And however, right now, fuck me, it's hard to find any redeemable quality about the Conservatives at the moment because the policies and whatnot they're passing aren't particularly conservative anyway. It's a
No, they
it's a
won't
shit
be.
Labour Party in disguise at the moment, I think.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why that is, without any hesitation at all. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think so, having studied human nature for a long time. As an autistic observer, I've studied it for a very long time. The reason they are appearing like Labour, because Labour is the party of the people, socialism. Well, the Tories want to appear like that because they want to be popular. What they have an eye on isn't so much the economy as the next election, which isn't that far away. They should probably not call one now. I know why people want them to. Probably wouldn't be in the best interest of the country. But even if they do have another general election, the next one, I think it's every 5 years. So the next ones can't be that far away. A couple of 3 years.
It's not
Tops.
far away. It's not far away.
Yeah.
I think it's 2
Well,
years away.
they will have their eye on the next election. They will want re-electing. This is why I always say politicians have got conflicting interests.
2025.
They're supposed to say 3 years. They're supposed to be serving the country, right? But also they're doing a job they want to keep. So that it doesn't matter whether they do a good job of running the country or not. All they need to do is doing a popular job.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, with no hesitation or any shadow of doubt, no chance whatsoever of being fucking wrong here, right? If you start giving people free money, you will be popular. But of course, free money, anything the government has, all right, with a few exceptions like, say, Norway's oil and maybe Venezuela's oil, and look at Venezuela if you want to laugh. Any money, say, the UK government has, apart from a few quid from North Sea oil, comes from taxation. It's not the government's money, it's your money. So there's no such thing as free money from the government. When you get money from the government, you're getting someone else's money that the government has taken away from someone to give to you. That's what you're getting. And people love it until it's their money that's been taken from them to give to someone else. Then they get a bit funny about it. Oh, fucking quelle surprise, eh? It's just why can't people see this?
So I've got a prediction. I reckon that
is it throbbing? Oh, prediction was a direction.
I reckon that the Conservatives are going to take the next 2-3 years, and they're going to paint that they're going to spend as much money as they possibly can. They're going to behave really like an irresponsible Labour government. Yeah, I think they'll lose the next election, and I think Labour will get appointed, and I think they will then have to bear the shit show of dealing with the back end of the recession and trying to navigate their way out of that. I don't think they'll be able to do it. I think people will get very sad and very unhappy, and then Conservatives will come in, and as the recession will naturally fix itself, regardless of any action, the Conservatives will come in on the tail end as it's fixing itself, and they'll claim all the glory. They'll say it's them, and everyone will go, oh, it's no coincidence as soon as Conservative come in, the economy sorted itself out. It's no coincidence. When it is, it's a coincidence. And then they'll go on to reign for another 8-10 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's actually probably what I've not really thought about this before, but I'd imagine politicians, they're many things, but they're not all stupid. Many of them will be aware of the mathematical nature of the cyclical nature of economies, and they will actually be doing that, planning ahead to appear like the knight in white shining armor.
Yeah.
What, in my opinion, I don't know about specific policies. I'm not that clued up on it. I could be if I studied it. It's just lack of education, not intelligence. But what Sunak should do is obviously provide lifelines where he can and where it's really important, almost like fucking battlefield medicine, but really he should just leave it alone. Because the more he leaves it alone, and I'm talking about the economy here, the wider economy, the quicker it will respond and get back to normal. It'll be painful, I'm not denying that, but it will get back to normal quicker. Because what will happen is the economy will be guided not by legislation, top-down control, but by the behaviour of the individual components within it. Well, they're bound to act quicker and more decisively than government are. and therefore it will be quicker. I mean, this is just simple mathematics. Well, it's not simple. It's just basic mathematics. It is mathematics.
Is it the square law of computation?
I've got no idea.
Oh, okay. I was reading about that.
Do you mean the way? You mean what's it called? Such and such law. Can't remember the name now. Where processing speed doubles every 18 months. That one. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Things become exponentially harder to figure out the more you poke it, essentially.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So the more inputs that the government puts into the economy to try and fix out, so they'll put in one input, but that will create, say, 4 dependent problems that will take forever to sort.
Instabilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Colloquially we call it whack-a-mole.
Okay.
You whack one mole and two more shoot up. So you whack those and two more shoot up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whack-a-mole, I call it. Well, yes, that's what it's called colloquially. The key to fixing this, and this is what Bill Clinton did. He did it by accident because of his legal problems. But the reason Clinton saw the states through the recession so effectively wasn't because of what he did. It was because of what he didn't do, and he didn't meddle. He was pretty much hands off the economy. So it kind of sorts itself out. Well, that's what will happen here if Sunak's got the balls to do it. And I'm hoping Sunak is intelligent enough to realise this. But then again, it will be predicated on making unpopular decisions that he won't want to make.
This is why I don't trust government, because I think there's every chance that they know they don't win the next election, so therefore they meddle and they make it look like popular meddling, like, I don't know, tax cuts, increase in benefits, free money, meddling, just to shit stir a little bit. I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little bit too conspiracy theories, but I
No,
wouldn't be
this
surprised
isn't a
if they're like,
conspiracy theory.
I wouldn't be
This is
surprised if they
common
like,
sense.
right, we've crunched the numbers. It's going to be almost impossible to overturn and win the next election. Do we even want to win the next one? Maybe not, because it's going to be a shit show. Because in the long-term plan, the 20-year plan, it's going to be better to concede this one for the greater good. Well, their perception of the greater good.
I'll tell you now, someone out there, whether it's government or private enterprise or government departments which are non-partisan, like the civil service, somebody out there will have mathematical models way in advance of anything we're talking about. Maybe Google, for instance, who are actually rocket scientists.
Yeah.
They will have models, and they will be thinking all this. If we're thinking about it, two fucking amateurs, you can bet your life that there are very smart people out there who are doing this with and if what's out there in the public domain is this sophisticated, what's not out there in the public domain is exponentially more so. You almost guarantee that. Now,
so I've got a question about leadership, especially in light of Rishi Sunak taking over. Something that we obviously talk about in our programs and whatnot. But what exactly are the three crucial components of good leadership?
right, in the model we use, which is the SLAM, the Stoic Leadership and Attitude model, it's got three main components. And that, well, in the middle, it's equanimity, which is what all leaders need. Now, at the top, we've got acceptance, which is basically recognizing things are the way they are, starting from true premises. Yeah. So you're not looking to be popular. You're not looking to be anyone's best friend. You're looking to this is where we are. This is reality. So it's acceptance, and then we have resilience, which is essentially, okay, this is where we are. So now we accept where we are and we deal with where we are. However that is. I mean, most of it is much of it is enduring, because like the recession, we can't change the recession as it is. So we're going to have to endure it. And pissing and moaning and wailing and gnashing your teeth about it won't change it. We still got to get through it. So we need to show resilience. So you have acceptance and resilience, and the last thing is focus. And focusing includes things like what actions can we take? What's the priority of those actions? Can we actually take them now? And also, it's a focus on knowing, and this is really part of resilience though, because they merge in together. It's knowing that, okay, we endure and we have faith this will not be forever, because it never is. It'll end, even if by your own death, it will stop at some point. Your suffering will end. But what can we do in the meantime? So really, it's those three things: acceptance, resilience, and focus. So the three component parts of the model we teach. I'm not saying they're the only model or the best model, certainly not the only one, but it's one that we teach, and it's one we found worked extremely well for us as business owners.
Mm-hmm. We're big on confidence, courage, and integrity. And
Oh,
what we found is
without
when
doubt.
you have acceptance and focus, that gives you confidence. You have acceptance and resilience, that gives you integrity. And if you have resilience and focus, that gives you the courage to actually act accordingly. That model is going to be a big part of our future at Well-Fed Businesses. A big part, especially as people struggle over the next coming years.
Core control, which is what we're running in a couple of weeks with the time of recording this. The lower end of stuff, as people come into our world, we teach them the skills they need to attract, seduce, and sell. That's fine. But then to build that into a business, well, business is predicated on leadership. Leadership of yourself, your team, your business, your clients, your prospects, your peers, sometimes even your market. And if your business is big enough, maybe even into government as a lobbyist, you know? So it's incredibly important. And right at the center of this leadership model, we have equanimity. Because, you know, when everyone's panicking around you, when everyone's shitting the bed and throwing the baby out with the bathwater, they're going to look for the one man or woman who's sitting there calmly and smiling to him or herself, thinking, I've trained for this for the last 5 years. You know, I've been practicing this. It's like the Romans: train hard, fight easy. I've been working on this. I've spent the long nights, the long hours practicing this, going through mentally in my head what I'd do if things go wrong. And now, when everyone's panicking, I have a plan to kill everyone in the room and get the survivors out, to kill the guards, to force our way out of the prison, so to speak. I have a plan. And people will know that. They will sense that, and they will flock around you because they are like headless chickens. And the one person who can show equanimity, this leadership quality of not even shaken, let alone stirred, you know, they will be the ones who reign supreme, if you like. But hey, what do we know?
I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Like a condom.
What should people go and do now?
People should right now go and get our book, Well-Fed Freelancer.com. It'll teach you the essential skills of how to attract, seduce, and sell to your target market. If you've already got that and you want the next step of things, we mentioned a moment ago, if you want to turn those skills or rather get those skills and put them into a proper business framework, including your, what I hate to call mindset, but it's true, with the Stoic leadership and attitude model, go to wellfedbusiness.com/core-control, or just email Holly at wellfedbusiness.com and she'll sort you out. Core control, it's going to be big. Bit like my.
And on that note, stay safe, wash your hands, don't go outside. Remember that.
I do.
See you later, guys.